Our very special guest right now is Scott Badesch, the president of the Autism Society of America, and he has been talking to us about this wonderful organization that we're going to be featuring this week, and about what they do and how you might connect with them as a parent. We've been showing their website. We're going to show that again. But Scott, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what do you see moving forward? Autism has changed. The way autism is treated has changed a lot in the last few years. What's the next step for the Autism Society of America?
Well, I think there's both an immediate next step, couple years, and then there's a long term. Mm-hmm. The immediate one is how do we continue as a society to provide valued services in difficult financial times. So I think not only our agency, but all autism providers and families and individuals need to get very involved in the government, the advocacy, political discussion about, how do we use limited resources and how do we make sure that cuts don't come at the expense of the most needy. So I think that's something we're more active in now than we've ever been active in. And I think that will have ramifications for years to come because, as we know, when services get cut, they don't usually get restored. I think what's ahead of us is part of that same discussion is how do you make how does the society really help someone with autism achieve their full potential? And how do we assure that a person with autism is not denied civil rights, is denied everything that is entitled to everything that anyone else is? And how do we get away from discussing autism as a service need to a condition that causes an individual to need some helping hands, in some cases a lot, in others, but that person is no less deserving than anyone else we as a nation have helped. And I think we at the Autism Society are beginning to transition to those kind of discussions nationally, locally, and state about how autism has to be viewed as something that you can't keep putting obstacles in the way of people and families as they try to succeed forward, and that our society puts way too many unnecessary obstacles in that path. And I think you'll see more of the Autism Society moving to say, why are these things being put in the way? Why are people denied access to housing? Why are people denied access to a quality education on a regular basis by certain school districts?
Yeah.
And I think you also see us taking the discussion of autism away from a human service, health service need to more of a societal need. It's a rapidly growing number, and we have got to start dealing with the bigger issues of high unemployment among people with autism.
Yeah.
Those no longer could be acceptable to us, and I think we're going to be taking the lead in those areas.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. You had mentioned last year, you guys sort of put out a call and said there should be a summit, a summit of all of the different organizations or the key players in autism, because it seems like even within our own community sometimes there's a certain amount of infighting and, is this the message? Is that the message? What do we want the message to be? And you guys sort of stepped forward last year and threw out this idea and said there should be a summit where all of the groups could sit down and be one voice. And I know we got really excited about that because I think it's a brilliant idea. Have you gotten any traction? Where are you on the summit?
There's a lot of infighting goes on in our community.
Yeah.
When I was naive to think that this would be an easy task, and it is. And that's not any statement in any organization. Before I retire, I'm going to get it done.
Okay.
Now, whether or not I'm 200 years old when I retire, I don't know. But seriously, I think we're seeing it starting to come together more. I think there's just a lot of dynamics in autism, and we have bought and talked and had some meetings with some of the larger groups. And I think there's agreement that, yes, we have to work together, and we have to find things that we could all agree on, and maybe disagree on other things, but there's certain things we could agree on. And I'm not saying do this at the expense of smaller and very important organizations, but I think we felt that we need to get the larger groups involved with autism to come to some agreements and then bring everyone else in and discuss how we could all come to some agreements.
Right.
I think what we're finding in this process is that there's certain legislative actions that we could all agree on. No one's going to argue that we shouldn't have a stronger restraint and seclusion protection.
Yeah.
No one's going to argue that Medicaid cuts shouldn't come at the expense of the most needy. But then it starts getting a little more difficult. Someone may say this is a priority, and we'll say that's great, but it's not our priority, or it's not someone else's priority. I think we also tend to have an agreement that IAC, the Interagency Advisory Council, is a potential for greatness, but it's falling far short of that. And it's time that we figure out how to make that work for the betterment of everyone and not have it all one-sided by government telling us what to do. I think that's something we could agree on. So I think this is a process that's going to take time. But I will say that in the 2 years and so I've been here, I think the climate has never been better to have that discussion than it is now. It's just taking longer than I thought.
Well, I appreciate your passion for the subject, and I want you to know that we here at Autism Live support this idea of having a summit. And if there's any way that we can help facilitate that by helping to get people at a table, because we'd like to cover it, and more importantly, we'd like to see it happen. It's a thing whose time truly has come, and I think that everybody could benefit from it. So I want you to know that you have our support, and if there's anything we can do to help you, we would be thrilled to.
I would love it. I'd love you guys to come. And I'll give you exclusivity to it if I have any say.
Well, and you know what? I sort of say, I wouldn't even need exclusivity, because we here are about information, and if there's 35 other people who want to line up and cover it too, I'm all good with it. Because at the end of the day, it is about getting people information. So, but I appreciate it. That was very sweet of you. But in any case, sort of last question, what are the challenges? You have this hotline and you have this space and you hear from people all over the country. What are the things that you hear the most often? Where are the greatest areas of need that you're hearing from parents currently?
I mean, there's no question that the greatest need we hear from is the total lack of adult services and the whole need for transition. That's that's something we hear more and more about.
Yeah.
The second area that we're hearing getting more calls about is this division between the haves and the have-nots of access to and receiving services.
Yeah.
There's probably nothing worse for a family to find out that your child has autism and then not have any services in your community. And what we've been doing some work on is looking at where that disparity exists. It's heavily based upon income, where there's lower income areas don't have access to services. There's a strong correlation between one's ethnicity or race about access to services. And we're starting to get calls about that. My son was diagnosed, or I'm seeing signs that my son may have autism, but there's not even a doctor in my community or a professional. How do I get help? We're working with the CDC on some efforts to that, and it's moving forward in a very good way. But, the whole adult service is it's a difficult task, but, what happens to someone when they graduate high school or they leave, they become 21, and the lack of services? And I think that's, you talk to any national autism agency, they'll tell you that's the number one need.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being here and shedding some light on some different subjects for us. And I want to encourage all of our viewers to check out your website to see some of the different ways that they can get involved, to get help and support, but also if they're further along and are in a place where they can be helpful and supportive. You guys are always looking for more people to work in your affiliate offices, and I would guess to open more affiliate offices.
We have 107 sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of the country. We need volunteers to come together. My contact information's on the website. Please contact me or contact anyone on staff. We'd love to work with you. If someone has a problem, they need help, they just need someone to talk to, give us a call. That's what we're here for. And again, I want to thank you two. You guys are doing a great job. I know I've been on this show and I look forward to it. But, you know, the ability of giving information, both from a parent and a professional perspective, is so important. So God bless you guys for what you're doing.
Well, and likewise to you. We're huge fans of what you do and hope that everybody participates and gets the help and support that they need. And you're a wonderful, wonderful resource. Please give our best to everybody there. And please keep us posted about the conference, and because we'll make sure to cover it as we get closer to the date for the conference.
We'll do it. Thank you again. And thanks for highlighting us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.